Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
We're actually following two breaking stories tonight. First, Governor Snyder gets an ominous warning from Congress saying he could face perjury charges.
But we start with a longtime Ann Arbor Pioneer baseball coach and teacher arrested for child sex crimes in Macomb County. 57-year-old Gerald Holly is accused of trying to meet up with an underage child for sex.
He was arrested in Clinton Township today after using the internet to arrange the meeting. Only the child he thought he was communicating with turned out to be an undercover detective. Holly teaches biology at Pioneer and has been the varsity baseball coach since 1995. We have a crew in Ann Arbor and we'll have reaction from the community coming up ahead at 6.
Our other story breaking tonight, Governor Snyder warned by Congress about perjury in the Flint water crisis. That warning deals specifically with his testimony to Congress and what the governor knew and when.
Hank Winchester has brand new details of a letter the governor got today and his response. Hank?
Kimberly, Jason, this is a very big deal. In fact, we've just obtained the letter that the governor has written firing off a response to Washington today. In the letter, the governor says he's been cooperating with this investigation from day one. And he makes one thing very clear. The governor says he did not lie. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder feeling the heat from top Washington lawmakers. Today, receiving a letter from a congressional committee inviting the governor to correct or support his sworn testimony from 2016. Testimony in regards to the Flint water crisis. This all involves the timeline. What did the governor know and when did he know it? Here's what he said when he testified before Congress under oath.
Governor, let me ask you, when did you first learn of the instances of a question here that was brought up just the other day as well, and it's a concern, the instances of Legionnaire's disease in Flint?
Yeah, in terms of Legionnaire's, I didn't learn of that until 2016. And as soon as I became aware of it, we held a press conference the next day.
But last week, a bombshell. Harvey Hollins, a Snyder insider, testifying in a criminal matter that he told the governor about the Legionnaire's outbreak in Flint in December of 2015. The governor said he knew nothing about the deadly outbreak until January. Now Congress wants clarification, asking the governor to supply the committee with additional relevant information, and if necessary, the governor may want to amend his previous statements. We reached out to the governor's office today and received this statement. My testimony was truthful, and I stand by it. I have specifically reviewed the question and my answer referenced in your letter. While you have offered me to clarify my sworn testimony, I do not believe there is any reason to do so. Back out here live, clearly that testimony from Harvey Hollins very impactful and making waves in Washington still today. Don't expect it to be the last time, though, that we hear about that timeline, Legionnaires, and the governor. In fact, we expect to have more information about that in future testimony very soon. We're live here tonight. Hank Winchester, back to you.
No, you'll keep us posted, Hank. We appreciate it. Our other top story tonight, brand new information about a rough arrest involving Detroit police.
Sources tell Local 4 an internal affairs investigation has been launched into this off-duty officer's conduct during an arrest at the Meijer store on 8 Mile.
And as that happens, the man beaten in the incident is sharing his story. Sean Lade talked exclusively today with him. Sean joins us live now, and Sean, he says the beating was relentless.
Relentless, and his name is David Bivens. We're learning a lot more from his side of this story tonight. Look, he says it never should have happened. A police officer here at the Meijer asked for his receipt. He said a receipt was given to the officer at the doorway as he and his girlfriend were trying to leave. But then after that was handed over, the officer, he says, kept coming at him, pulled his baton and started swinging.
And he's just continuously swinging at me, and I'm asking the whole time, why? I'm asking him to give me a reason, to explain to me exactly what are you doing and why are you doing this. And the whole time he's just shouting, I told you, you know what you did.
David Bivens says the beating was relentless. The person beating him, an off-duty Detroit police officer in uniform working security at the Meijer on 8 Mile in Woodward Sunday evening. Bivens was accused of shoplifting by 2 off-duty officers. He says even after he showed his receipt, one officer kept coming at him in the doorway and outside. Bivens says that officer knocked out and damaged 8 teeth and broke his jaw with his baton.
My entire top row from K9 to K9 are gone. I'm missing 2 on the bottom, and they're just really fractured, and the rest are really sensitive up there. And they still feel like they're loose, and some more might fall out.
It started out as a nice night for Bivens and his girlfriend Hillary. They ate and then bought items at Meijer. Headed to the bus stop, Hillary went to the restroom when Bivens was approached. He calls the rest a nightmare.
He was continually advancing towards me.
Bivens insists he never resisted, never engaged the officer or yelled at him. And with the click of the officer's baton, Bivens thought he was about to lose his life.
All I know is I hear the sound, my heart's racing. Because I don't know if that's a click from a gun. I don't see anything. All I do is hear it. I knew from the moment that they approached me that this was wrong and that I had done absolutely nothing.
Again, Bivens says clearly he did absolutely nothing to warrant this. We learned tonight the officer you see in that video is 65 years old, a veteran of the force. We asked Detroit police again today about his job status. They say the official word is that his job status has not changed. Kimberly, at 6, Bivens' girlfriend was with him for this, and she has a very important perspective to share as well. Back to you.
Okay, Sean, I'm just wondering, I shop at that Meijer quite often, and I see officers there all the time in uniform. I just assumed that they were on duty, but this officer was off duty. Is that standard procedure?
Same with me, because I do the same thing here at this particular Meijer. Always see the police officers keeping things safe. Yes, the officer was off duty, but in his official capacity as a police officer, in his full uniform with all of his gear, but working a secondary job, moonlighting as such for Meijer. The Meijer pays his salary then to come here and work security.
Okay, Sean, keep us posted, and we'll look forward to your story coming up at 6 o'clock.
Let's move on to the weather. And, well, after 2 days of rain and clouds, you saw Hank have the umbrella out there just when you thought it was done raining. We wouldn't mind seeing the sun.
That's right. Let's get over to Ben now. It looks like we might just get that tomorrow, Ben.
We might, but I tell you, if this continues much longer, it's going to be a whole lot more pea soup out there. The Ambassador Bridge allegedly is in the background of that shot, but it's tough to tell down here at the shore or the riverfront. Back off into the distance, it's nothing but fog. Now, at the surface, these visibilities are really not low enough to cause the city travel problems. 2 miles, one of the lowest spots that's in Monroe right now. Temperatures are relatively steady in the mid-50s. You can see all these dark gray areas. Those are the low clouds and fog that are hanging around the Midwest. This is going to be our next weather maker that's up in the Plains states. That cold front that's going to come through this weekend could cause us some headaches. But tonight, it's just 54 degrees right through 10 o'clock. Steady temperatures, a lot of clouds and fog, and we'll talk more about the impact for the weekend in just a few minutes, guys.
Okay, Ben. Equifax has taken down one of its web pages after reports of a new cyber breach. The company recently disclosed a hack that compromised, I should say, sensitive information of more than 145 million people. And yesterday, the company found part of its website was in control of attackers trying to trick visitors into installing fraudulent Adobe Flash updates. The hacked page has since been removed, and security teams are looking to fix this cyber breach. New evacuations are being ordered in Northern California as 16 raging wildfires remain out of control.
At least 26 people now have been killed, with nearly 300 still missing. Because the fires keep growing, evacuations have now included 20,000 people, and many of those families have no idea if they'll still have a home to go back to or not.
Saw a fire truck come up the street. I waved them. They said, "Hey, you got to go." I said, "Help me, man." I said, "You can save my house."
Boy. There's still no word on the cause of the fires, but investigators still looking into the possibility they were started by knocked down power lines.
The Detroit Police Department is looking for 3 suspects who broke into a home and set it on fire. Cameras on the house caught 2 of the men. Take a look here. As you can see here, one of them tries to open the door but knocks when he notices it's locked. And this next clip shows a different man tampering with the gas meter at the same house located on Dodge Street. The suspects fled on foot after lighting the house on fire. It is unknown if anything was taken from inside. Okay, first the good news. Enrollment at Detroit schools is on the rise.
I'll take the bad news. That means the district doesn't have enough teachers. Tonight, it's looking to fix that with some more good news. These are live pictures from Ben Carson School, where a teacher fair is going on right now. The district has immediate openings in elementary and middle school positions and even says it'll hire right on the spot. Rod Maloney shows us how bad the need is and how they're working to fix it.
What sound does short E make? Okay.
Renaissance High grad Jasmine Phillips, a Detroiter through and through, went to Wayne State University to become a TV journalist.
Write the letter, write the numbers. What number is this? Okay, write it.
Her junior year, she took a summer teacher's aide job and found her passion.
In college, you don't want to work in the summer, and I woke up and I didn't mind it. It didn't feel like I wasn't working. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go to work. It was like, oh, okay, it's time to see the kids, let's go.
Now she's a special ed teacher at Bagley Elementary and fits the perfect profile Nikolai Vitti, the new DPS-CD superintendent, is looking for, a certified teacher wanting to change lives.
I think that there's newfound hope, energy, and optimism that we're going to do things differently and not just sit back and accept challenges, but actually go through a problem-solving process to improve our numbers.
Right now, the district needs 150 teachers, about 100 fewer than it needed all last school year. It's hired 300 in the past 2 months, which is about 10 times the number hired last year.
If you're thinking about it, do it. Come to DPS-CD. These students deserve teachers who care about them, who can provide a successful learning environment, who can motivate them to learn, and who can instill them with self-worth.
So the job fair runs from 5 to 7 tonight, but if you don't have your resume dusted off or you don't have your new suit ready, there's going to be another one coming in 2 weeks on the 26th, again, right here at Ben Carson from 5 to 7. In Detroit, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Yeah, all right, Rod, go for it. That's the message there. Dr. Vitti knows part of the teacher shortage problem is low teacher pay. He believes Detroit's teachers should be among the highest paid in the state. And remember, get hired on the spot, maybe.
Yeah, go for it.
We're just getting started on a very busy Thursday.
That we are. We have much more ahead over this next hour, including 2 families pleading and hoping a murderer is brought to justice in the killing of 2 aspiring Detroit rappers. And drinking water worries here in Michigan, and we are not talking about Flint.
But first, it's a common call that comes in to Help Me Hank. He'll show you what to do if a dangerous tree is threatening your home and the wires that surround it. That's coming up next.
When critics new at 6.
Edgar Zarins was described to me as a pillar of this small church in Farmington Hills, which is why everyone is shocked to find out he was stealing right from the basket.
But he wrote us a letter stating he did it. So what he's doing right now is just playing the game.
Zarins was in court today. Coming up, you'll hear from more people who worked right alongside him.
Okay, Jamie, plus what this man brought to a local jail that made him go from guest to under arrest.
The Help Me Hank tip line is being flooded with calls from Detroiters worried about dangerous city-owned trees. The concern is the changing weather.
Some worry if problem trees don't come down before winter, the extra weight could cause them to come crashing down. Our consumer investigator Hank Winchester joins us live to show you how to treat the tree problem in your area. Hank?
Yeah, and it's a very legitimate concern, and we understand why people are worried, especially this time of year. We've got an issue here right over my shoulder. You can see an out-of-control, overgrown tree from a vacant lot has taken over this woman's backyard. It's causing some issues with the lines behind her home. But as you will see, it doesn't matter what part of the city you live in, it's all about knowing who to call. Take a look at the damage this tree is doing to Margaret Grayson's fence, and the tree vines now wrapping around wires that are causing other issues.
People just come and look. It's ridiculous.
The tree on the neighboring property is owned by the land bank. It's simply out of control. It needs to be dealt with.
It's disheartening. And see, I got all of these here slips. It's too many to even explain. And it's disgusting when you call.
But the issues here, and for many facing similar tree troubles, it's all about calling the right person. In this case, the vines are wrapped around AT&T lines, and crews with AT&T will be doing the trimming. We put a call into them. Our phone lines have been flooded with calls from people with tree trouble all over Detroit. Here's what you need to know. If a city-owned tree is causing headaches for you on your property, call the Department of Forestry, 313-628-0900, or file a complaint using the Improved Detroit app. If the tree is affecting power lines, you need to call DTE, 800-477-4747. Not long ago, I heard complaints about dangerous city-owned trees in this Detroit neighborhood. We contacted the Department of Forestry, and within days, the work was done. You just need to know who to call and make sure you follow up.
I was not expecting this fast of completion. I mean, wow. Thank you, Hank.
You just got to know who to call. District managers can also be a great resource. Listen, I know that was a lot of information, a lot of different numbers. So what I'm going to do is we'll put it all on the Help Me Hank page at clickondetroit.com. We're live here tonight on the East Side. Hank Winchester, back to you.
That lady looks so helpful that Hank came through. And we want to congratulate Hank for getting a special honor today.
Yeah, I wish we could see his reaction. Hank received the Spirit of Detroit Award from Detroit City Council President Pro Tem George Cushenberry. He was honored because of his work transforming Thurgood Marshall Elementary and Middle School. I'm sure you remember this story. Also honored today was the school's principal, Sharon Lee.
Yeah, congratulations, Hank. He does a great job, did a great job with that school. And if Hank can't help you, nobody can help you, right? He gets it done.
That's why I'd always thank you, Local 4. Thank you, Ben, for making the rain stop.
Well, maybe we can get Hank to get rid of the fog.
That's right.
I'll get on the horn to him. But it's going to be a while probably before we see the sun. So just know that and know that the fog out there is just nuisance right now. It's not low enough to really cause us any problems. Again, the lowest visibilities that we're looking at is 2 miles down here in Monroe. Usually these numbers have to drop below a mile before we start seeing issues on the roads. Nevertheless, there still could be a couple spots outside of the reporting areas where we are seeing that fog a little bit more dense. So just keep it in mind tonight as you're driving around. Temperatures aren't going to change a whole lot between what we've got now and what we're expecting for nighttime lows. We're at 56 at Metro, 57 at City Airport, 59, one of the warmer spots at Mount Clemens, opposed to 63, which is the warmest spot up in Port Huron right now. So the clouds definitely have socked us in. We've got the fog underneath it, and it's just going to be gloomy for the rest of the evening tonight. There is a chance we could get a couple scattered showers through here as we head through the evening hours, but it's pretty light stuff, not going to amount to much and not going to last long. We'll be dry through the overnight, and then going into tomorrow, clouds in the morning and still some fog hanging around for the first part, and then gradually we start breaking up those clouds, especially in our west zone. We'll see a little bit more sunshine in the afternoon on Friday. The real story here is going to be the weekend. We've got a cold front that we showed you at the top of the show that's headed in our direction. We're going to pick it up here. This is 1 a.m., so very early Saturday morning. We'll start seeing scattered showers across our north and west zone, and then watch what happens through the day. It's mostly going to be areas north of M59 that get this rain, and some of it is going to pack quite a punch. In fact, when you look at some of these rainfall totals, down here in our south zone is going to be little to nothing by the time this cold front exits on Sunday morning. And you get north of 59, that's where the 1-inch totals show up. Could be some areas here between 1 and possibly up to 2 inches of rain. Again, this is from very late Friday night through early Sunday morning. So a span of about 36 hours that we'll be watching. If you're north of M59, keep in mind, could be a very wet start to the weekend. And that's going to make a big difference in highs. We're going to look at Saturday's numbers. 75 is what we're expecting in the city. Could be a couple spots down here near 80, near the state line in our south zone. But you start moving further north where that cold front's keeping the rain and those high temperatures there. Fenton, Flint, you're going to be in the upper 60s and mostly 60s. For highs in our north zone, especially up in Sanilac County, 64 there in Sandusky and Marlette. We will see some low 70s closer to M59, but you're still going to be getting the rain. So tonight we're looking at 53 with clouds, drizzle, and fog around. Some improvement by the end of tomorrow. So the drive home is going to look a lot better than the one that's out there right now. 70 for our high there, 75 on Saturday. Things are going to cool down Monday, and you see that 40 on Monday morning. There could be a lot of 30s outside of the city. So we're going to be watching that very closely. Does not look right now like we'll be seeing frost, but be keeping our eyes on it.
We'll call Hank about that one too. I think.
Put it on the list. He can help us. All right. Thank you, Ben. More people are surviving strokes, but new research is showing an alarming trend. Coming up in Good Health, why researchers are so concerned and what it could mean for your risk down the road.
But first, she's one crafty crook. The incredible way this woman was able to ransack a Kohl's store without anyone noticing until it was too late. That's next.
Across Michigan, tonight's stories from Belmont and big news for folks in Flint.
But we want to start on the west side of the state in Holland Township. That's where authorities are searching for this woman. Police say she hid inside a Kohl's store until it closed and then stole several items. It happened Sunday night at the store located on Felch Street, just east of US 31. She was caught on surveillance video putting items in her bag before forcing open a door to get out.
Moving over to Plainfield Township in Belmont, where a new filtration system is being installed on the main water line. Homes there are being tested for a toxic chemical found near a former Wolverine Worldwide dump site. The company announced it will cover the cost of water filter systems and will install whole house filtration in more than 300 homes in the area, regardless of the test results. And big news in Flint. General Motors has announced it is investing $79 million at the Flint assembly plant for a new trim shop.
The trim shop will be located on the west side of the already existing plant. The investment covers the installation of new conveyors as well as improvements to the general assembly area. GM has now invested nearly $2 billion into the Flint assembly plant since 2011.
New at 5:30.
We all know what our kids watch on TV could be linked to what they want to eat. I'm Sandra Ali. You're going to hear expert advice on how to get your kids to eat good food, not just the treats they see on TV.
Today, President Trump dealing a blow to Obamacare without the help of Congress.
We often do stories on the family members of victims pleading with the public to help them find their loved one's killer. Today, we hear from two small children who will never see their mommy again.
And if they did it to my daughter, girlfriends, moms, trust me, they'll do it to you.
That's the story we're working on for you, coming up at 5:30.
Our salute.
Two Detroit families pleading for answers tonight. They want to know why their loved ones, two up-and-coming Detroit rappers, were gunned down along I-94. Good evening. The families of Ramel Campbell and Dominique Brown came together today in hopes of drumming up new leads in a case that really has gone cold.
Ray and Domo, as they were known, were driving along I-94 in Detroit on July 30th when another car pulled alongside them and opened fire. Both were killed. Paula Tutman is following this story for us tonight.
The smallest victims are a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, left motherless by a drive-by shooting on two aspiring rappers.
And they left us mommyless. Say we need our mommy, and she can't come back. Say we need justice.
Dominique Brown was a fledgling wannabe rapper.
Dominique expressed her interest in rap on July the 7th when she called and asked me what did I think. 3 weeks later, on July the 30th, on my oldest son's birthday, she was found murdered.
She'd recently met Ramel Campbell as they prepared for rap battles where rappers try to out-rap one another. While driving across I-94 near Livernois, shots rang out. Both Dominique and Ramel were killed.
You guys shot her up as if she was in a war, as if she did something to someone and she was innocent.
The individual that she was with had encountered a beef with another rap group.
Dominique's father says he believes the killers are taunting the families through social media.
You guys use social media as a comedy show. To me, it seems to be because you're making jokes and raps and senseless statements about what happened.
But police have not found a culprit or a motive. And today the loved ones hold the hands of two frightened, confused children.
They have no regards for human life, and if they did it to my daughter, girlfriends, moms, trust me, they'll do it to you. So if you know anything about this case, it would be wise, to me, it would be wise to speak up.
Yeah, I mean, somebody out there knows something, and if the faces of those two little children can't open up your heart, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Obviously, police want to know who these people are. They're brazen. They are cold-blooded. They don't know what the motive is. They don't know if they'll strike again. Anyone with any information is asked to contact, obviously, the Detroit police or call 1-800-SPEAK-UP. They make it easy for you to give information, and so hopefully somebody will call.
Paula, you did mention the location of that shooting on I-94 in Livernois. Was there anything else out there in terms of information, a suspicious car or anything else that happened that day that we need to be aware of?
Police need that information. They need the public to help them find out if there's any other information so they can track these people down.
All right. Paula Tutman live for us tonight. Thank you, Paula. A 1-year-old child had to be administered numerous doses of Narcan after a suspected heroin overdose. It happened Monday evening on Spring Street in North Toledo. The toddler was taken by his mother to St. Vincent Mercy Medical Center after allegedly ingesting an unknown substance inside their home. The child later tested positive for opioids and was given 3 doses of Narcan to help stabilize him. The boy remains in ICU this evening as the police continue their investigation.
Today, President Trump took a major step to dismantle Obamacare, signing an executive order that will roll back some key provisions of the health care law. And something we rarely see from the president's chief of staff, answering questions from reporters. Today, John Kelly pushed back on reports he's ready to quit his job. Blaine Alexander has all of this covered tonight in Washington.
And hello to you from Washington. On healthcare, most Americans get their insurance through work and won't be affected by this. But for those who are, the White House is promising more options and lower costs, though some experts say that's not the full picture. With the stroke of a pen, President Trump chipping away at Obamacare, signing an executive order to do what Congress could not.
This order takes first steps to make it easier for businesses to help their workers afford high quality and more flexible health care through reimbursement accounts.
But critics say it will actually increase costs for those with serious health issues and drive some insurers away from Obamacare.
Well, good afternoon. Great to be here.
Meanwhile, Chief of Staff John Kelly making a rare appearance in the White House briefing room, knocking down rumors that he's fed up with his job.
Unless things change, I'm not quitting. I'm not getting fired. And I don't think I'll fire anyone tomorrow.
And putting a positive spin on the president's eyebrow-raising tweets on Puerto Rico. The president saying FEMA cannot stay there forever to deal with the ongoing hurricane crisis.
They're not going to be there forever. And the whole point is to start to work yourself out of a job and then transition to the rebuilding process.
This on a day when the White House is celebrating the release of an American and her family held hostage for years by the Taliban. The president touting it as a result of strong U.S. diplomacy and improved relations with Pakistan.
I believe they're starting to respect the United States again. It's very important.
The president now trying to force a change from Iran. His decision on the nuclear deal expected tomorrow. And today, President Trump nominated Kirstjen Nielsen, General Kelly's chief of staff, to take over his old position as the head of the Homeland Security Department. Today, the acting DHS secretary is visiting Puerto Rico. In Washington, Blaine Alexander, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Blaine. Senator Bernie Sanders will be a featured speaker at the Women's Convention here in Detroit later this month. Senator Sanders is scheduled to speak on Friday, October 27th, on how the progressive movement can move forward and achieve its priorities. Tickets for the convention are on sale right now.
In good health tonight, nearly 800,000 Americans suffer a stroke each year.
It is really frightening, and while more people are surviving strokes, new research is showing an alarming trend. Kimberly Gill is here with a look at what researchers are finding.
Yeah, really they are. Stroke-related deaths in the U.S. have declined over the past decade thanks to advances in treating them. But experts say we need to focus more on preventing strokes, and this new study suggests we have a long way to go.
More people are surviving strokes, but new research finds stroke risk factors are actually on the rise.
Risk factors we think of like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, drug abuse have all become more common among stroke patients.
The study looked at more than 900,000 people hospitalized for a stroke over a 10-year period. Despite numerous guidelines and prevention programs, researchers found the rates of high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, smoking, and drug abuse are actually increasing. One driving factor is the rise of obesity in the U.S. Experts are also particularly concerned about the increase in drug use among younger patients. There's no single solution, but Dr. Andrew Russman says we can't reduce our risk factors unless we know about them.
Following up with your primary medical doctor, getting annual physicals, and being screened for these medical problems is really an important part of preventing heart attack and stroke.
And while this study focused on people who have already suffered a stroke, it's far better and far less costly to prevent strokes from happening in the first place.
Yeah, and while the research focused on areas of personal responsibility, experts say there is a need for more community efforts as well. That includes providing better access to healthy food, more places to exercise, and fighting drug abuse. But it is something you certainly want to keep check on, and now that you know better, you'll hopefully do better.
Have those conversations with your doctor. So many times we kind of go in and out and don't ask enough questions.
Yep,
Start
that's
small,
true.
just keep going.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kim.
Sure. When schools make budget cuts, often the first thing to go, art classes.
But when one woman took a trip to Detroit schools, not having art class just didn't sit well with her, so she decided to change that. In this week's Heart of Detroit, Mitch Albom introduces us to Carol Hofgartner and Art Road.
Reintroducing art classes to students has been a passion of Carol Hofgartner's since she stepped foot in a classroom 20 years ago.
I went to a career day to talk about architecture to a school in Detroit, and I said, just like in your art class? And they said, Miss Carol, we don't have art. I decided that very day I would do something about it and volunteered for 7 years.
That volunteer experience solidified Carol's feeling about the importance of art.
When we're little, art is one of our first languages, but what happens is that we actually suck the creativity out of children. Because adults, we're all about stats and it has to fit into a paradigm. So we're losing out on the next generation of creatives and frankly thinkers, inventors, designers, architects.
To keep students and their creativity engaged, Carol created a nonprofit called Art Road.
We're currently bringing art to over 1,200 students all year long. So we raise money and employ artists to teach in Detroit schools.
After school?
No, during the curriculum. So all day long, the students come down with their teacher, and our artist teaches exceptional art.
After 12 years, Carol's Art Road is moving into its 4th school, seeing results every single day.
Our principals have told us that attendance has gone up because their students don't want to miss art. This one student told me, she said, art is forever. I'm like, you're right. So these skills that they're learning, they'll take for the rest of their lives.
Creating the next generation of artists, Carol Hofgartner is bringing art back to the schools right here in the heart of Detroit.
I love that. I think it gives kids so much confidence, especially the shy ones.
And you know how you prove all that? When they come running home, they don't just, hey, check out my math homework.
Right.
Look at this painting.
Yeah,
you know,
very
boom,
true.
right on the fridge. Yeah.
Cool program.
The University of Michigan trying to live up to its reputation as the leaders and best halfway around the world.
New tonight, the amazing feat the university pulled off in the middle of the Australian outback.
And talk about putting yourself out there. We'll show you why a group in Farmington Hills is bearing it all for a good cause.
We all know TV ads are loaded with treats. I'm Sandra Ali. Coming up next, expert advice on how to get your kids to eat good food, not just the snacks they see on TV.
New at 6.
Slowing sales leading to a change at a local GM plant. Find out how many weeks Hamtramck Assembly will be idled later this year.
Plus, some troubling findings about new dads and the amount of slacking off they're doing compared to new moms. That's new at 6 in Good Health.
And getting our kids to eat good, healthy food can really be a battle. And sometimes what they see on TV is really no help. It only makes them want the junk food more. Our Sandra Ali has some expert advice tonight to get kids making some smart food choices.
First, you want to teach your kids about tummy hunger versus head hunger. They should really know what it feels like to be hungry, not just hungry when you're sitting in front of the TV and bored.
Many parents monitor the TV shows their kids watch, but what airs during the commercial breaks could impact their eating habits.
I absolutely think that kids watching commercials or celebrities or athletes influence what they do in their everyday diet.
Nutrition consultant Stacy Goldberg says, unfortunately, many commercials focus on high fat, high sugar, and high sodium food.
We're not really seeing commercials for broccoli and kale and carrots. And so kids, and they're not trendy and fun for kids.
Researchers conducted an experiment that looked at 200 9- and 10-year-olds. The kids were fed and then shown a 34-minute TV show that contained commercials for either food or toys. The children, who viewed a show with food ads, including a commercial for gummy candy, later ate, on average, 48 more calories of gummy candy than those who saw toy ads.
crux of the issue is to educate your children in nutrition. Getting your kids involved with food, you know, having them cook with you, having them meal plan with you, having them go to the grocery store to shop really makes a difference.
Talk to your children about fiber and protein and how those foods will make them feel more full and satisfied. It's okay to have a small treat after filling up on Grow Foods first. And get creative. Celery sticks with cream cheese and Quackers, a healthier option than Goldfish. Or turn a treat into a snack.
Take the cookie, a small cookie, not a giant cookie, and make a cookie sandwich and put peanut butter in it.
And let your child mix in a little candy in with their healthy choices.
One of the fun things to do is to let your kids get a cellophane bag, take the stickers and decorate them with their favorite cartoon characters, heroes, and let them mix the candy with a freeze-dried fruit and a high-protein cereal. It's something that's a little bit more exciting for them. It still gives them the gummy candy, but it also gives them something that is more nutrient-dense.
All right, so mix it up, that's for sure. Also, you can use keywords your children might hear in commercials and then point them out on the packaging of healthier options or focus on unique flavor profiles. Like this, it is Brazilian coconut popcorn. That coconut might get the kids interested. Or this one is vanilla almond protein ball. Or over here, Jason, this is a chocolate peanut butter bar.
That's Bernie's stomach.
Bernie's the one who's saying.
I heard
but
cookie
it is
sandwich
true,
and I
though.
blacked
Like if
out.
you throw in a little bit of healthy with the other, you know, kind of mix it up and give them some options.
Absolutely. Kids
We'll
love
give
it.
them to Bernie later. University of Michigan's solar car takes second place in the Bridgestone World Solar Challenge going on in Australia.
This bullet-shaped car gave U of M its best team finish in history. Its name is Novum, and it's the smallest, most aerodynamic vehicle it's ever built. The Solar Challenge is an 1,800-mile race across the outback over there, down under. After 5 days of racing, Novum crossed the finish line at 4:09 p.m. in Adelaide. That's almost 2 hours after the first-place team, but ahead of the third-place team. So boom, there you go.
There you go.